Welcome to Firearms Friday from the Wyoming State Museum in Cheyenne. I'm Evan Green. I'm the firearms historian for the State Museum. And over the past 3 or 4 years, I've been going through the museum's collection and recataloging some of the firearms, doing some research, and in some cases trying to tie individual firearms to events or people in Wyoming's history. And this particular revolver has a great story with it. It is a Colt single-action Army revolver. It has obviously been exposed to the elements for some time because there is no trace of the original finish. It appears that, in fact, somebody may have taken a wire brush to it at some point in an attempt to remove the surface corrosion and surface rust from this firearm. The springs are gone. The cylinder still turns, but there are no springs, so it would not function, and you would not want to attempt to fire this. So this particular one was manufactured in 1883, and it was involved in an incident called the hole-in-the-wall fight in 1897. And in the 1870s, up through the turn of the century, was boom times in Wyoming and the other western states for the cattle industry. There was free grass on public land. There was water available, and people made and lost fortunes in the cattle business in Wyoming and other western states. So there were folks who took advantage of those opportunities on the open range to acquire livestock that wasn't theirs. And they were called rustlers. There was some contention in 1892 when a group of stockmen and hired guns from Texas invaded Johnson County, allegedly to deal with rustlers, but in some cases mainly interested in putting small ranchers and small cattlemen out of business. They had a kill list of 70 people, including the sheriff of Johnson County and the Johnson County commissioners, and other folks that had been identified as rustlers. So there were actually rustlers. And in this instance, in 1897, a group of 12 cattlemen and cowboys went into an area called the Hole in the Wall, which is an area between the Bighorn Mountains and a massive red sandstone outcrop. And when I first heard hole in the wall, I thought that meant that there were only a few places where you could get through that sandstone outcrop to get into the area behind it. Turns out it more likely means an area that is confined by mountains on 2 or more sides. Jackson Hole in northwest Wyoming being the classic example of a hole, an area surrounded by mountains. So anyway, in 1897, this group of cattlemen went into the hole in the wall looking for stolen cattle. The leader was a guy named Bob Devine. He was the foreman of the CY Ranch, and the CY Ranch was owned by Joseph Carey, who went on to become both governor and a senator from the state of Wyoming. Bob Devine had an amazing reputation. He showed up at the Carey Ranch looking for a job as a cowboy, but his skills and leadership abilities became apparent, and he quickly progressed to becoming the foreman for that ranch. So anyway, there's 12 guys, and they go into the hole in the wall. There's led by Bob Devine. His son Lee Devine is with them. There are representatives of other ranches and cattle operations, and there are 2 Montana stock detectives accompanying the group, and one of those is a guy named Joe LaForce, whose name just winds through Wyoming history. He is most famous for having extracted from Tom Horn a confession for killing teenaged Willie Nickel, the son of a sheep rancher who was shot and killed northwest of Cheyenne. So Joe LaForce is with the group of 12, And as they're driving a herd of cattle that they are convinced belong to them and shouldn't be in the hole in the wall, they encounter 3 riders coming the other direction. There's Al Smith, there's his brother-in-law, Bob Smith, and a guy named Bob Taylor. And the reports of this encounter would indicate that there had been bad blood between these groups leading up to this encounter. And as with wars, the people who win the gunfights get to write the history and tell everybody what happened. So Bob Devine claimed that there were harsh words exchanged between the 2 groups, and that Al Smith drew this revolver and shot at Bob Devine, hit his horse. So Devine said he drew his revolver and returned fire. The shooting became general. Lee Devine, Bob's son, was wounded, but not seriously. He survived. Bob Taylor, one of the 3 guys coming the other way, and possibly rustlers, was hit seriously and died the next day. Bob Devine ended up being charged with murder for shooting Bob Taylor. So, okay, Al Smith drew this revolver and shot at Bob Devine. In his autobiography, Wyoming Lawman, Joe LaForge claimed that he was the guy who shot this gun out of Al Smith's hand, and the story kind of hangs true because you'll see there's this big chip out of the pearl grip right here, which is consistent with if Al Smith was holding that revolver in his right hand and was hit in his right hand, he would have probably dropped that revolver when he was hit. So anyway, this is kind of a rusted old relic. It's got some unique features. There's a replacement front sight with a little ivory spot in it. This front sight was put in a dovetail. The original front sight would have been silver soldered to the barrel. Makes me wonder if maybe this wasn't originally a longer barreled revolver. Barrel was cut off, new front sight installed. So anyway, Colt single action Army, .45 caliber, shot out of the hand of Al Smith by Wyoming or Montana stock detective Joe LaForge at the hole in the wall fight in 1897. So if you have questions about this firearm or any other firearm that we've discussed, you can ask questions in the comment section below, or you can give us a call at the museum or stop by. I'm not here every day, but I would be glad to make an appointment if you want to meet me and talk about firearms, yours or some that are in the Wyoming Museum's collection. So anyway, thanks for watching our videos. If you like them, hit the subscribe button and we'll let you know when we have a new one posted up. Thanks for watching.